Welcome back, everybody, to the Running It Back Network's Tour de France recap show, talking stage 10 today. Welcome, new viewers. Welcome, returning viewers to my channel. I am your host, Patrick Ramirez, a stand-up comedian, lifelong cyclist, enthusiast, race fan, all of it. Talking Tour de France daily. If you haven't already, give my channel a subscribe, because we've gotten some new subscribers through this Tour de France update series. So thank you all for coming in to my world. We do a recap every single day. If you listened to yesterday, we had Gravel Dan joining us, fellow comedian, fellow cyclist, give me his insights into the tour so far. And today I'm going to give you an update. We do these updates, I keep them short, I keep them succinct to all the pertinent details that I observe during each stage. And today was a big one because we're talking stage 10, the first mountain day in the tour. And as always, we're going to start with headlines of the stage today. Stage 10 headlines are: Ben Healy takes the jersey from a long-range break, Simon Yates wins the stage, and first mountain test, Pogacar tested by Jorgensen, not Vinigo. So, talking headlines, Ben Healy takes the jersey from a break. I almost watched the entire stage today. And Ben Healy goes out in the break with a bunch of other people. The break was huge at one point, and it whittled down slowly until it was the day's break. We had Ben Healy in that break. We had Ben O'Connor. We had Quinn Simmons. We had Victor Campenaerts. We had Simon Yates in there. There's probably someone else I'm leaving out the Ineos guy, but a pretty strong break is what I'm saying here. And somewhere along the lines, it starts to be talked about that, is this break going to stay away? And at first thought, I'm like, no, there's no way. No, they're going to bring it back. The first mountain day in the tour is always a statement from the GC group. So I thought, I don't know about that. Then the gap got large enough where the thought started to persist that, will Ben Healy take the jersey? And I'm like, no way. No, what? No way. And he starts to do the math as the stage progresses. He goes, he not only might take the jersey, he will take the jersey. So why did he take the jersey? Well, UAE initially was riding tempo, and at some point, they just shut it down. They weren't interested in it. And it sort of makes me think, because halfway through the stage on the Peacock broadcast, Van de Velde says, I just leaned over to the EF car, talked to Jonathan Vaughters, the director of Ben Healy's EF team, and he says, what's the plan for today? Is it a stage win? He goes, we're all in for the jersey. We're all in. Stage second, white jersey, third. And I'm thinking, really? This is the goal? To go for the yellow jersey, you have to make up 3+ minutes. You're an okay climber, not a great climber. I thought that was a weird answer, and all I can think of is that he had a little conversation with UAE team director. Whether a deal was struck or they said, this is the plan, let us take the jersey, have the pressure off your back. I think there had to be a conversation in there, because that seemed like such a monumental feat, and UAE was chasing at the time, and due to them shutting down the chase, that's what allowed the break to gain even more time after that. That being said, Ben Healy, well-deserved winner of the jersey today. The guy has fought hard. He is clearly the best breakaway rider in this tour. And at one point, he goes off the front, he goes off the front. He's caught, and all he's doing is riding tempo. He's like, I'm going for time. I'm not riding for the stage. If you guys want to ride on my wheel, fine. If you want to help, fine. But I'm just riding for the stage. Think of me as a solo rider. And that's all I'm going for. No one helped him until it was time to come around him and actually try for the stage. And he just went at his own tempo for probably the last 25 minutes. How did that go down? Simon Yates attacks from there, gets a gap instantly. And then at some point into that attack, Simon Yates, you saw that and instantly all right, well, he's winning the stage. His legs look really good. This is his terrain. He's going to win this stage. And he did. So great win for him. I think he's got to feel better because the first 9 stages he essentially was off. He lost time a bunch of times. He wasn't in the mix. That's why he was allowed to get in this breakaway. So I think you have to feel good for him. Victor Kapanarts, the other teammate of Yates and Visma in that break, drops out of that break and comes back to the group, or the group comes back to him, and actually does a little help for his team, which was Jorgensen, Kuss, Vinigo, and I think Benoit was in the group at the time as well. Strong effort today from Visma. However, I don't know if it was the smartest effort. So keep going down the headlines. Yates wins the stage. Is Visma shooting for stage wins? We listened to Sepp Kuss's interview after the stage. He's like, yeah, we can go home happy having won a stage. Yeah, but that wasn't your goal. Your goal was GC. Your goal was to win the tour, not win a stage. And gives TJ Van Garderen some credit here. So when they go back to the studio, he goes, I wish the reporter would have followed up on that question. So the goal is to win a stage, not the tour? Have your goals changed? The studio show has been by and large a little odd, a little disconnected. But TJ was right on it when he said, like, ask the real question. Why did you attack? You didn't need to attack. No one would chase you as a GC. You should not have attacked, Sepp. What you should have done is rode tempo or get up the road, or one of your teammate attacks to you. It was very odd tactics from Visma today. And right into the third headline, the mountain test for Pogačar. He was tested by Jorgensen. He was tested by Kuss, I guess you could say that. He was tested by Remco also with an attack, not tested by Vinigo. No attacks from Vinigo. I don't know what he was waiting for. He's obviously the second strongest to Pogačar, because when Pogačar goes, Vinigo is right on his wheel and nobody else can even try. Remco didn't even try when Pogačar launched one of his attacks today. And I sat there on the couch saying, when Pogačar does his attack and then sits down, I was like, where's the move, Vinigo? Here it is. If you have anything, you do it now. And it never came. Maybe he was on the limit. Maybe he couldn't attack. But a very subdued, conservative, smart riding from Pogačar, where he's like, I go, I blow it up, I look who's back, and if someone's back there's on my wheel, I shut it down. I thought for a second, or I got nervous for a second, where it was Pogačar and Vinigo riding to the finish, and now we're keeping an eye on the clock because Ben Healy needed 3 minutes 51 seconds of a lead to get that jersey. So we're watching the clock, and Pogačar essentially, Vinigo has neutralized his attack, and Pogačar shuts it down. So now they're going slow. But who do you think catches up to them but dropped rider Lenny Martinez? And what does he do? He goes right to the front and starts hammering. Pogačar gladly follows his wheel, and I'm thinking like, oh no, Lenny Martinez is going to blow it for Ben Healy because he's going to ride a decent tempo and bring Pogačar into the line in time. But it did not happen. He had it by about 30 or 40 seconds. Ben Healy did. But what's up with Visma? What is these tactics? Is it just, if I give them the benefit of the doubt, is this just poor decision-making in the heat of the battle? Because they are so strong in the sense they have numbers in on this climbing day, and yet Jorgensen was a good attack. It just didn't go anywhere. Sepp was a curious attack, didn't need to attack. He needed to help set tempo or set up an attack. And Jonas didn't do any attacking. He just sat there. Jorgensen had a great attack at one point where he attacked up the inside of the road and Pogačar was on the outside of the road, making him have to come all the way around the front of that group. Nothing stuck, though. Nothing was a real threat, I have to say, from Jorgensen. But he was throwing blows in there. Now, keep in mind, this was a Category 2 climb. And these days, these guys fly up Category 2 climbs at like 20 miles an hour. So there's still a pretty good draft on a Cat 2 climb at that speed. So as long as you're on the wheel and you have the good climbing legs like these 10 guys do, more than likely you're staying on the wheel. So That I had to check myself on when it came to today's race because I thought we were going to have bodies all over the road. It was going to be carnage, but it's a Cat 2 and they can handle Cat 2. You saw going into that last climb, it was still a pretty big group. And that was a hard pace from Visma's Tishbanut. Navayez from UAE played a good role today in the place of Almeida. So it wasn't the carnage I thought we were going to see today, but it was a Cat 2. Hard stage in about 100 miles. Those were the headlines today. So let's move on to the USA report for stage 10. And it was another active one. In fact, maybe the most active when it comes to USA today. We got Quinn Simmons in the break yet again, and he gave it a go today. Another serious go. His legs gave out on him on his attempt, and he was swallowed back up, but gave it a serious go. He was in that break. I'm sure he was keen off Ben Healy the whole time, knowing this is the danger man. This is the guy going for the lead, as we found out, and the stage. He ended up getting the lead. Very active from Quinn Simmons. I saw an interview with him, and he seems more than happy to do whatever he's asked of. It doesn't seem to have any beef with anything. Doesn't seem to be bothered that he has to do a lot of the early pace setting on some of these stages. But today he had his card to play, and he got it. He got in the break, and he was strong. He was strong. Didn't threaten for the stage win like the other day, but very active today. Sepp Kuss, second American, makes essentially his first appearance in the race today with great tempo setting. He was there. He was in the group. He had the one attack. Say what you will. He had enough to attack or get a gap a little bit and get brought right back. Active today. Matteo Jorgensen. He was great in assisting and attacking today. I think he had 3 attacks by my count. Pitch that climb up just a little bit more. Say it's a Cat 1 climb. I think that was enough to blow up the group. I don't think anything you can really say is enough to blow up Pogačar, but if the goal is to isolate him and do these attack 1-2s, 1-2s, that's something. That's at least a viable strategy. That's at least something we can wrap our heads around other than pace hard and then try and attack him. Because that's not going to work. He's too strong for that stuff. You can't just pace him, attack him. It's going to take something special this year to attack him. It's got to be the use of Jorgensen. Sepp, go up the road and then Jorgen bridge to you, and then you just go crazy, Sepp. And if Pogačar kills himself to get back, he gets back. And then you do it again. And then Jonas goes. That's all I can think of because there's no riding this guy off your wheels. There's no traditional, let me attack at this point in the race because he's going to be ready for it. But they did isolate him today, and they had 3 guys in that final. Keeping going down the list, Nielsen Palace, you had to watch early, but he was in this break early, and he did a couple efforts to make sure it got that gap for Ben Healy, his teammate, and then he fell out of that break. Nielsen Palace, good work today. You have to think you had a part in getting that jersey for Ben Healy today. Lastly, Will Barta finished. That's a feat in itself to finish this huge mountain day. He's in the race. Look we've had no USA rider crashes. Nobody's struggling off the back. Great first 10 stages for the U.S. and the hopes of a stage win are still very possible. Moving on. We're going to move on to winners and losers. Start with winners of the stage today. I got winner number 1, taking the jersey from a break. That's got to be a great feeling where you get the jersey from the break and it has the built-in drama where not only do you come through the finish line alone, away from the group, whether you won that stage or just finished in the break away from the group, and then you instantly have to turn around and look at the clock and start doing the countdown of how much time do I need to get the jersey before they came in. Okay, I got the 3rd place time bonus. Factor that in. Who's pulling? What's going on? Where are they attacking? Are they setting tempo? I love taking the jersey from a break like that. Today had great drama that I did not expect. I didn't see Ben Healy getting enough time. It's got to be the exact recipe for someone to do that. And today was the day. second winner of the stage, and that is, how about the viewer? How about the viewer patiently waiting for the mountains? It took us 10 stages, and here we are. Mountain stage, hard stage today. They were talking about it all yesterday that like this, the gruppetto, which is the group of riders dropped off the back on these hard mountain stages, is going to form early. And then they have to get together and ride together hard enough to make the time cut. Now, it was mentioned that that group was so big, the gruppetto, of like 60 riders, that they would never cut that many riders, which maybe we should talk about that. Maybe they should. The gruppetto came in, though. They're in. They're not time cut. So how about the viewer having to wait for the mountains, patiently waiting, and here it is. And the best part is more to come. All right, let's go to losers of the stage. Number one loser of the stage is, how about understanding Visma tactics? I watched all the post-race shows today. No one really had a viable argument of what they were doing, why they were doing it. If the goal is to win the stage, I guess you could say they accomplished that. But we all know it's not. Their goal isn't to win a stage. They want to win the whole thing. So understanding the tactics was very strange today. Couldn't figure it out. They put two men in the break. Ideally, it was to have some satellite riders. Didn't really happen that way. Yates went out on his own. Campenarts came back and set a little bit of tempo at the base of the climb. That was it. Couldn't understand it. That's definitely a loser of the day for me. Also loser of the day was the gruppetto. Not because they're losers or they did anything wrong, but they had a hard day today. That gruppetto forms on probably that first climb, and then essentially it's like, all right, we have to rotate and ride hard. Oh, for another 90-ish miles. We've got a bunch of climbs coming. It's almost like, all right, guys, better get comfortable because we're going to be here a while and we better become friends, or we better just at least be cordial enough to keep rotating. Also, days like today is really hard because we saw this with Quinn Simmons. He had no team car support. He's in the break. His team car is way back with Milan, who was in the gruppetto. There's a secondary team car with the main group. So you saw him getting bottles from the Visma car, which I guess if it's just water, no big deal. But what about food and stuff like that? He had to get help from another team's car. Keeping going, loser of the day, Jonas not attacking. I have to put in here. Like, why not something? Why not? You did it on stage 1. Did we already forget this little attack on stage 1? Why not today? Why not anything? Didn't get it. Didn't get that one at all. Also losers in the day when the break is forming, guys not cooperating. There were some reports that Ben O'Connor was a little angry at the cooperation, at the rotating of the guys in there. If you're in a small group of this, which is, I think it was about 8 or 9 for the majority of the day, there's probably a lot of talking and yelling going on, especially as it's forming, figuring out what the objectives are of each individual rider in that break and how it's playing out. Guys on the break not cooperating is the loser of the day because you're essentially on a little road trip with these guys and you got to sit next to each other for the rest of the day. I don't like seeing the arguing. So those were losers. Moving on, everyone, to a new favorite segment on the show. It's called Media GC. It's where we rank the post-race YouTube show viewership. I want to talk about the move for a second. I mentioned I couldn't quite understand Lance's hair in the last 2 episodes. And they actually mentioned it today. And in true Lance fashion, he was a little miffed. He's like, he didn't understand what was going on. But a couple things on the Move podcast. This is why it's so great, is that Lance is such a character on that show. At best, Lance is a gracious person, a person with perspective. At worst, he is a very volatile person. I bring this up because he talked about social media and how it was brought up that if you don't like what someone says on social media, you can sue them. And he said, like, yeah, I went golfing with this bigwig lawyer, and he said I could sue him. So yeah, I'm gonna sue some people. I'm sure he was joking, but he sounded serious. And I would just love one of the co-hosts on that show, just to realize the fertile ground for comedy on the show. And he's like, didn't you sue people who talked bad about you before, Lance? I remember how that kind of went. Maybe this legal form of defense was not your best way to go. So maybe not get so mad about that strategy. Also, when it comes to the move, they do this thing called Ventum Trivia where, they ask a question, you can win a bike. I got a Ventum Trivia question, Lance in the move. What happened to your co-host JB from last year? Where's that guy? That guy was pounding ketone IQs like crazy. Where is he? Did the man have a stroke? Does he have ADHD because of ketone IQ? They're all over your desk. Where is this poor guy? Oh, did you not bring him back? Was he radioactive? I remember not bringing one writer back because he was quote unquote radioactive. We need an answer to that. Where's JB's podcast? I'd like to know. That was the move. So let's do the numbers today. And we have for the move for their show for yesterday, that was stage 9. They received 40K views. Lanterne Rouge, they go right after the stage. They do it live. They asked a lot of poignant questions about the Visma tactics today as well, which I think that'll be on everybody's mind. 22K for the Lanterne Rouge, so about right, maybe a couple K lower than yesterday. Now we go to the Butterfly Effect, Chris Horner's podcast with his sponsor that we have no idea what the actual sponsor is. Now, remember, they are the reigning champion from yesterday. 47K, they retained the belt in the Media GC. The Butterfly Effect does. So I can't wait for the video today. I think by now we all know that Visma's tactics were not perfect. They won the stage. But is their goal a stage win? I don't think it is. And to tell us, the viewer, the fans, the media, that, yeah, we're happy with the stage win, like, we're not buying it. We're not buying it. You didn't attempt any attack today, Jonas. Having a hard time understanding this. So the Butterfly Effect wins Media GC for stage 10. And I got to say, this race is heating up like exactly like we would like it. It's just been at a simmer for the last week, and we had our first real come to a boiling point today. Not enough. The meal isn't cooked. It was only a bunch of Cat 2s, a hard stage, but it's starting to take shape. I can't wait for the next mountain stage. So speaking of stages to come, we have a rest day tomorrow. And like any other tour, the rest day means think of a storyline from the media. So we're going to have Remco changing teams talk tomorrow. We're going to have Visma tactical talk a lot, ad nauseum tomorrow, because it's just media tomorrow. We can talk about Sepp Kuss. We can maybe dust in a little Kevin Vogelon. We need to generate some sort of French story, but the big one's going to be Ben Healy. We're going to find out in the next 24 hours so much about this guy, where he's from, what his life is like, what kind of rider he is, what his future is on the team. Like, this is shaping up to be a great 3 weeks for him because he won a stage. He's going to have the jersey for a little bit. This is going to be huge for him as far as his popularity goes. Speaks English, so the American market has something on their hands here when it comes to sponsorship and presenting him to the American fan base as well. So get ready for headlines, and not even headlines, just storylines tomorrow. Like, there might be a product unveiling, where the riders go do their little rest day ride on some new product or something like that. Maybe a different jersey. We're going to be tired of it by about 4 p.m. tomorrow, I'm sure. So there'll be headlines tomorrow that we'll have to sift through. They won't all be true headlines. So speaking of upcoming, stage 11 is Wednesday, and that is 156 kilometers. It's labeled as flat. However, there are 4 Cat 4s and 1 Category 3 at the end of it. If someone's legs aren't good from the rest day, which for some reason always happens, that Cat 3 could be tricky. And I mean, all eyes are on Kevin Volkalon. If they put some force in that final Cat 3, that's where my eyes are. A guy who's lucky to be where he is on GC. He lost time today on the final climb. So his rest day is critical. I wonder how he's going to do tomorrow. Now, speaking of the big GCs, Pogačar, Remco, and Jonas, I expect all of them to be good. They're really professional. They're really experienced when it comes to the Tour and multi-day racing. So I wouldn't think anybody would have a rest day issue, but you never know with it. I mean, if anybody, it would be Remco. He's the least experienced. But I have a feeling Remco was itching for something today, and it didn't. He held back. Smartly held back, because there was no way he was getting away from anybody today. But he had enough to try something. So, if you say stage 11 is flat and going to end in a sprint stage, I don't see that because of that Cat 3 coming at the very end. Another potential day for the break. Let's think about that. And that means EF is now going to defend. It's not going to be UAE and Niels Paulett riding hard at the front. It's probably not going to be Quinn Simmons riding for Jonathan Milan at the front. It's going to be EF. So we're going to see a whole slew of EF guys on the screen for once. And how about EF? I mean, having a great tour so far. Jersey and stage win, and they're going to be all over the front come Wednesday. Great day for the opportunists. Great day for a break. Great day for an Alaphilippe is what I'm thinking. French didn't get anything today with it being Bastille Day. I think Alaphilippe is going to keep trying. He wanted today, and he didn't make the break. He wanted a few days ago. Remember, he got the flat. He's going to try something. He's going to be in one of these breaks. I don't know if he can take it to the line, but he's going to be in one of these breaks. I thought Michael Woods looked good today as well. I think he's got legs for a good break. So we'll see what happens on stage 11, which is Wednesday after the rest day. So that was stage 10, everyone. We're in the mountains. We're going out of them, but we're going to go back. The jersey has changed hands. Visma's trying some tactics. USA. The hunt is on for that stage. Don't sleep on them. They're not done. I'm hoping for something. Winners, losers. We talked about the Media GC, and we set up stage 11. So everybody, if you made it this far into the video, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you, new subscribers. Thank you, new viewers. This is my channel. This is my YouTube show. I am your host, Patrick Ramirez. This is the Running Back Network. Go check out my other videos. My stand-up clips are up there. I'm performing all over town. If you want to see a show, let me know. Thank you, loyal viewer. This is why I do it. I love the sport, but the support is great from you too. I'm going to keep putting them out. I'm going to have a rest day recap as well. Maybe I'll run down my favorite headlines of the day, my post-race thoughts, see if I see anything funny out there. So I'll be here tomorrow. We'll have a show for you. So for me, Patrick Ramirez, for the Running It Back Network and for the Tour de France recap for stage 10, thank you for watching and listening, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow. Happy rest day.